Hi, my name is Casey Lex. I play Marty McFly.
I'm Bob Gale. I'm the author of Back to the Future, the musical.
And I'm Richard Ridge from Broadway World. I'm sitting in the DeLorean. It doesn't get any better than this. Well, first of all, I am thrilled to be standing with both of you here on the glorious Winter Garden stage, Back to the Future, and we got the DeLorean behind us.
We got the DeLorean
Here
right
it
here.
is.
Tonight is what, the 207th performance?
Yes, it is. And we're still happy to be here. Very, 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 very thrilled to be with this company.
How great has it been having him here back at the Winter Garden? Because the last time you and I spoke, it was opening night, and that was a beautiful big opening night here at the Winter Garden. The car was outside, everyone took pictures in the car. I mean, what's it like having him back here watching the show?
I think it's just great to it's great to have him back and to see the longevity of it. I mean, I'm happy to be in a show that is lasting and finding an audience, and for him to be able to have this first experience with Broadway and see how this community has embraced his work, it means a lot to be able to see how happy it makes him, and it makes me very happy as well to be a part of that.
Yeah, I use the word magical because it is. Many people try to get to Broadway with a show. It must have been so great for you to turn this incredible film, which is iconic, that millions and millions of people around the world fell in love with, that you turn this into a Broadway musical, and it's a big hit here on Broadway. What are you enjoying the most about being part of the process and just having this show on Broadway, Bob?
It's wonderful to see the effect that Back to the Future has on so many people. And every show, there's a mixture in the audience of young and old, all ages. Some people have never even been to a musical before, but because it's Back to the Future, they want to be here. Some people, especially children, they're not familiar with the movies. They've never seen it. And this is their first experience with the story. And it works for them because it's a hell of a good story. And that's what's so great, is that at the core of all this is always, it's got to be a good story to engage everybody. And the fact that we have such fabulous people playing these characters, such great new songs, such great old songs. I mean, it all mixes together, and it really is a special version of Back to the Future.
Yeah. Now, we talked beforehand, there's only you have to be a certain height to actually sit in the DeLorean, right? So I don't think I'll be able to fit in there unless I get rid of part of my legs,
I
right?
think a little bit, maybe an inch you'd take off.
Okay, so when you went in for your audition, what did you tell them?
I mean, fortunately, I was very fortunate that they kind of had their eyes on me from Almost Famous. So I didn't have to tell them much. I just had to be able to do the role, I guess, do the role well and hit the notes and do the voice and all that stuff. But yeah, I was excited, and I think they were excited about the possibility of all of us collaborating together. So yeah.
Because you're the tallest Marty, right?
I am the tallest Marty. I did have to lie because I think they asked my agents how tall I was because they couldn't tell from seeing me in Almost Famous, and I am taller than you're supposed to be in this car. But I fit in it, so whatever.
What are you enjoying the most with playing this incredible role and being a part of Back to the Future?
Oh man, I mean, I really enjoy getting to introduce this story to people either again or for the first time. What I love about this role is that it is so iconic, and I don't shy away from that. What Michael did with the role is extremely iconic, and I don't ever want to act like it's not. So I try to give them as much of Michael's essence as I can, and also bring myself to it, and take them on a new journey. So yeah, for people who haven't seen it before, hopefully it gives them the feeling of seeing it for the first time, and people who have seen it before, hopefully it gives them a new taste of a new version of Marty.
Well, I just love, because when you sit out here, I've seen the show numerous times, and it's like parents are here, grandparents are here, and kids who are being introduced to this incredible world of Back to the Future, and it's going to change their life forever. So they go back and watch the movies, and they're like, when can we come back and see the show again, right?
Yeah.
Right. No, the amount of people that come over and over. I'll tell you my favorite anecdote from London, actually. A woman comes up to me after a show. This is back in July 2022. She said, "Mr. Gale, I just want you to know, I love your show. I come and I see it once a week, and this is my 19th time." And I said, "Whoa, I'm very flattered." I said, "Doesn't this get expensive?" She says, "Well, I figured it out. I'd been in therapy, And every time I had a therapy session, I felt depressed. But I came to see your show and I felt great. So I quit seeing my therapist, and that's the money I use to buy my theater tickets.
I love that story. I'm sure there are many people that do that, right? That find, happiness in going to the theater or
Yes.
whatever.
We love therapy, though. We do love therapy. If you can get both, do both.
No, this is better than therapy. This is therapy. Actually, there was a woman Saturday night who said, I'd seen it 20 times. I said, I did. I said, really? She said, it's my therapy. I didn't even have to, I don't know whether she's seen a therapy, but therapist, but
Incredible.
it just, there's a certain kind of comfort food. It's like if you get really depressed, you put on a movie that you've seen a bunch of times, or a song, or maybe, if I get depressed about some really bad books I'm reading, I'll just pull out Mark Twain and remind myself, oh yeah, this is what writing is supposed to be like, or Ray Bradbury. So people come to see this, and it makes them whole again.
Yeah. What have you enjoyed the most about creating this musical for Broadway, and it's your Broadway debut?
It's just been a wonderful creative experience to see that the movie has had such a wonderful effect on the people working on the show, that everybody came to this show because they really wanted to be here. They wanted to use their talents in the best possible way to translate the movie and the story to the stage. And they didn't just bring their A game, they brought their triple A game. And it's just really glorious.
Talk about the enjoyment you get, like when you meet theater goers at the stage door afterwards, the impact this show and your performance has had on them.
Yeah, I think it always means a lot when young people are here, for sure. Because I was the kid, I still am the kid that ends up at stage doors and waits for their favorite performers and gets to tell them what it means to them. That really means the most to me, because literally, as I did the Jimmy Awards 4 years ago, I was really that kid a few seconds ago. So it really just means the world.
Yeah. So let's talk about the car. Do you remember the first time you got in this car?
Yes, I did. I got in it in London, and I think I bruised the side of my hip, because it is not the full size of a DeLorean. It is a smaller version for the stage. You wouldn't tell from the audience.
Yeah.
It looks like it's full size. But I got in, and I had to learn how to get in. So I'll show you.
Okay.
It's a little bit. Put your feet down first, and then you got to get your butt in, and then you have your legs here, and then you slide your legs under. It's a very tight fit, and that is the way you don't hurt yourself. But I did not do that the first time.
So you bruised yourself.
Totally did, but it was very cool to be on a DeLorean for the first time. That was awesome.
So there's the Marty way of getting in and out of the car.
Yes, there's a Marty way. That is probably the strongest skill amongst the skateboarding, guitar playing, magic tricks, and high notes. I think that is actually the hardest part of my job.
So I was going to ask you, what is the hardest job? Because you do everything in this show.
I do. It's kind of like a jack of all trades. I had even pulled out old Taekwondo skills from when I was younger. I think it's just the endurance of it all. I mean, it's just nonstop from start to finish. I don't leave the stage, and even when I do, it's for a quick change.
Yeah.
But I'm in every scene except for the top of Act 2, and just keeping that up. But as long as I got sleep, caffeine, and some encouragement from Bob Gale, then I think I'm all good.
How many times a performance do you get in and out of this car?
Oh my gosh, if I counted, I don't know. Probably I would say around 10. Around 10. Yeah.
So it's like the Marty workout.
Yeah. I also do a hood slide. I get out of the car, put the thing in, slide across the hood, and then I lose 30 pounds a day. So yes.
So that's the workout.
Yes, exactly that.
Now, Bob, you must have been in many of these cars, between the film cars, the London car, and this car. What's it like for you when you sit in this iconic car?
Well, the truth is that the DeLorean wasn't really a very good car. That's why the company went bust, because the real car was 900 pounds heavier than they thought it was going to be, because they didn't calculate the stainless steel. So it's fascinating to me that this is a car that people will always remember because of the movie, because of Back to the Future. And one of my favorite pieces of fan mail we got was from John DeLorean, who wrote us a letter 2 or 3 weeks after the movie opened. He says it was addressed to Spielberg, Zemeckis, and myself. And he said, gentlemen, I just saw Back to the Future. I thought it was brilliant. Thank you for keeping my dream alive. It was great. It's just great.
Can you imagine how many people would love this car now?
Yeah. Oh
Like
my
if all of a
gosh.
sudden these, yeah.
They
Well,
do.
it's coming back around. They're doing another version.
I don't know if they are or not. I mean,
We'll see.
there's been some, but on the aftermarket, the amount of money that gets bid for these cars, it's crazy. It can be crazy. Yeah.
You want to take us on a little tour of the car?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, we've got the time displays that are that everybody remembers from the car.
Okay.
But you don't really see them clearly when you're sitting in the back of the theater. They're here because they belong there. But one of the tricks, one of the challenges in translating the movie to the stage was, okay, how do we tell the audience about the time displays if they can't see them? And so the answer is right here. The DeLorean is voice activated. So Doc Brown says, destination time, November 5th, 1955. And the car talks back like Siri and says, destination time, November 5th, 1955. Everybody in the audience understands that. So this was a really, if I do say so myself, a clever solution to how do we communicate this to the audience.
Yeah.
It worked great. And it's also, as Doc Brown explains, it responds to my voice and my voice only. So when Marty's trying to, in the movie, when Marty can't get the car to work, it's because there's something wrong with the starter. Here it's because the car won't start, doesn't recognize his voice. So that's pretty primo. Fans of the movie know that these were Goodyear double eagles. So the Goodyear logo is stenciled on there. And they built metal, but this is not metal. This is fiberglass and wood painted to look like metal.
Yeah.
This is the plutonium chamber. It opens up, lights.
Yeah.
We have the coils, the time coils, and they light up to let everybody know that the time circuits are on. The DeLorean doesn't work exactly like it does in the movie, but it's done for the stage. Oh, let's go around the front so that we can see the flux capacitor. Because, again, we couldn't do a close-up of the flux capacitor. So to solve that problem, we made the flux capacitor remote, sort of, so that it can be removed, and we can show that to the audience and say, this is what makes time travel possible.
How cool is it, like pulling stuff out of the car every performance?
It's wild, especially when Roger Bart doesn't stick to the script. Neither one of us do, really. That's why the show is always different, and people can keep coming, and everything changes. But yeah, when he doesn't stick to the script, sometimes it's me slowly pulling it out, waiting for him to finish his line, or sometimes he runs away before I'm even ready. So there's that.
The car does some really fabulous stuff in this show.
Things. Everything that it does in the movie, it does in the show.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing stuff. You got to come to the Winter Garden and see it in action because it almost flies over the audience.
I mean, it almost, that could feel like a metaphor. It flies over the audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of the secrets fly over the audience.
Over Broadway.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so when those magic tricks happen, when the magic happens here on stage, what is it like being in this car when it lifts off and does what it's supposed to do?
When the car does what it's supposed to do, it actually most of the time does. Considering this is Broadway and we do it 8 times a week. It's pretty wild. The first few times I experienced it, I was like, this is not normal. My body knows this is not what is supposed to happen in a car. And then I got used to it, but still, it's like it's crazy. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster every day, and that's what I get paid to do, and that's why I'll never leave, and I'll be here when I'm much too old to play this
Took
role.
him to Coney Island over and over again, so
got
that you
me
could go
used
on
to
those rides.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I threw up like 5 times the first time. No, just kidding.
No, but that's the prep.
Yeah, well, I mean,
The Marty prep.
it takes some. I can't believe I never took Dramamine doing this show. I probably should have. But no,
There's
I'm
no
used to it
time.
now. No, never. If I took it at the beginning of the show, I'd be asleep at Act 2. So, yeah.
Let's just talk about why this show remains so popular. People fly in from all around the world to see this show on Broadway at the Winter Garden, some numerous times over and over. Why do you think that is, Bob?
The story really touches people. And it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter what country you're from, what culture you were raised in, you're always going to wonder, what did my parents do on their first date?
Yeah.
It's universal. And somehow Bob Zemeckis and I tapped into that with the movie, and that is something that everybody can identify with. It really is a family story. How did my family come to be? And that's what touches people. And we tell the story in a special way, and we humanize so many things. I mean, usually you see a time travel story and it's about changing some big historical event. This is just about a human story about the McFly family, and everybody can identify with that.
Yeah. For you, the success, what do you think it is of this musical?
I think it just has something for everyone. It reminds me of shows like Wicked and Lion King that happened in, the 90s and the early 2000s that hit every box.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there are jokes that will fly over kids' heads. There are spectacle moments that will change a kid's life. There's something in it for every person in the family, and I think that's why my family keeps coming back, other than the fact that I'm in it. And that's why all the families keep coming back constantly. Every single day at the Stage Door, I have these kids coming back saying, "It's my 5th time."
Yeah.
And it means a lot to them. So yeah, it means a lot to me that it means a lot to them.
And singing the iconic songs from the film, and then the beautiful songs that have been added to this musical, what that means to you.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I remember watching Michael J. Fox sing "Johnny Be Good," and I guess it wasn't Michael J. Fox singing, but it was. I remember watching him play that solo and just thinking, wow, that is the epitome of cool. And I can't believe that I get to do that every night. And the fact that I got to get a note on how to sing "Power of Love" from Huey Lewis himself, that was pretty amazing. So yeah.
Because they were all here on opening night. I mean, did you know? I mean, did you see them on the carpet?
I did. I
Like
met
Michael
them
and
5
Huey?
minutes
Yeah.
before I started.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 minutes before we started, we met all of them. It's crazy.
So take me back to that moment. You know they're all there.
Yeah.
Huey Lewis, the cast from the film, Michael J. Fox. You're like,
Yeah.
places, please.
I didn't know Huey was going to be there. I knew Michael and Chris Lloyd were going to be there. And Roger and I walked out in our costumes, walking through Times Square. And it's like Doc and Marty are about to meet another Doc and Marty. And I just remember the crowd is going wild. And I'm like, well, someone just showed up and it's definitely not me. And I turn around and it's Michael and Chris and Huey. And whoa, what a moment that was. And then right before I went in to do the show, I asked Michael what his advice was. And he said, kick ass. And if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything, which was just a quote that I will remember for the rest of my life.
And you do that every night.
I try my best.
Yeah. Broadway debut, a dream of yours to have a Broadway musical on Broadway?
It was a dream I didn't know I had, actually, because it's like so impossible to put a show on Broadway. And back in 2005, when Bob Zemeckis suggested to me, because his wife actually was the one who suggested, did you guys ever think about making Back to the Future into a Broadway musical? And we kind of went, well, maybe. That's an interesting way to revisit Back to the Future. And that's how long it took, because we started talking about this in 2005 and 2006. And in 2006, we brought Alan and Glenn Ballard in to start writing some songs, to just say, well, why don't you guys write some songs and let's see what that might be like. And they wrote 3 or 4 songs, and they're all still in the show from 2006. So they had a razor focus on what was going to be the right thing to do, and creatively totally in sync with us. And we said, okay, that's great. Let's do that stuff. Let's put on a show.
Finally, my last question is John Rando.
Yeah.
Your director, John Rando, added into the mix. Brilliant mind. What's it been like working with John Rando?
John is a lot to credit with why this show is successful on stage. I mean, it's so great to have a mind like Bob's and Bob Zemeckis and these music writers, all these creatives that can create content that you'll remember forever, and then John finding a way to interpret all that and to bring his comedic style from Urinetown and all of the amazing musical comedies he's done, and being able to present that in a way that people will remember forever. And John is just, I credit with him with so much.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
John is like a walking encyclopedia of musical theater.
Yeah.
He knows everything about musical theater, and he understood that what we were after was to try to update the classic type of musical.
Yeah.
And he had a razor focus on that. He understood it. He educated me. He was such a great teacher. You know, the highest compliment I can pay anybody is to say I would work with that person again at the drop of a hat. And the hat wouldn't even have to hit the ground for me to say yes to doing another show with John, because it's just been, he's brought so much to the party, things that I'd never even thought you could do. And he said, well, yeah, we could do that. Or he would say, Bob, you can't do that because of this, but maybe think about it this way. So he was just a joyful collaborator to have.
So Used Cars the musical with John Rando directing.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's
With
do
this
it.
one starring?
Is there a role in there for me? I might be a little young, but I'll take it.
By the
Let's
time
do it.
we-
By the time you
given
get it
how
ready.
long- You'll be the right age
Yeah,
to
great.
play the Kurt Russell part.
Great.
Listen, I thank you both. I'm itching to get in that car. I'm itching to get in the DeLorean. Let's see how we're going to do this.
Okay, here we go. This is new host Casey Likes.
Put one first.
Okay, I got one in. Oh, I'm squeezing in.
There you go. There you go.
Good.
Look at this.
Wow.
All right, so I can drive this. Seriously, look at this. Oh my gosh, look at this.
What happens now?
There you go.
I'm in the DeLorean. I can't move, but I don't really care. I'm at the Winter Garden on stage, sitting in your car.
And now I take over Broadway World. So, thank you so much. We're going to leave him in there. Goodbye.